guys, let's talk about crow pose today. So if you haven't been able to nail your crow pose yet, I'm gonna guess it's two reasons why. The first is that you're strictly relying on balance to get into crow. The second one is you don't lift your head. Yeah, that's a game changer to lift your head in your crow. So let's look at it. Palms down at the mat, right about shoulders distance apart, maybe an inch wider, maybe, but just know the wider you take your palms, the more you're relying on chest strength to get into crow and not shoulder strength, which is what you should be relying on. So palms underneath shoulders, and to not rely on strictly on balance, there is some balance involved, but to rely more on strength, which is what you want to take the insides of your knees right around the outsides of your triceps. So not all the way out. It's kind of like a sweet balance between just resting on the backs of the triceps instead of wrapping all the way around like you see here. And when you do that, it's gonna force you to use your adductors, those inner thigh muscles, to squeeze, to compact, and to solidify the foundation of your crow pose. Now, you'll hear some people say, oh, just balance the knee right on the back of the tricep. Then it becomes more of a balance game, and the stability is not really there to really hold your crow pose forever if you wanted to. But if you get strength involved, you can hold it a lot longer. You'll have a more solid foundation in the crow pose, and you'll have a more integrated crow pose with your practice. So, palms underneath the shoulders, maybe just a hair wider if you need. You want to start in this perching squat here, kind of just get the hips warmed up to get down low into the crow pose and actually wrap the knees around the triceps that you need. So bring the big toes to touch, lift the hips. Place the knees right about there is your sweet spot. So remember, not directly, it's hard to even stay there on the backs of the triceps, just a little bit of a wrap. And then once you get that wrap, you want to engage these inner thigh muscles to squeeze your legs onto your triceps so that they stay there and they're not going anywhere. So palms down, wrap the knees, squeeze, lift your head. That can be a game changer. Most people want to look down at the mat for security, but the more you lift your head, the more you can kind of counterbalance the weight of your rear end going up with the head going down. That's not what you want. You want the rear end to lift behind you and to counterbalance that weight by lifting the head and looking forward. So palms down, wrap the knees and squeeze, which is what I like to say. Lift the head. Pull the belly in, lift one foot. Pause here. If you don't have a crow, this is a really, really good starter crow. And then take a break. Go back into it after a few seconds. Wrap the knees, squeeze, engage the belly, lift one foot, maybe two, into your perfect crow. So once you get up into the arm balance, have to stay engaged in the belly, have to stay engaged in the inner thighs, have to keep the head looking. Another thing that people tend to do is actually shoot for crane, which is a much harder arm balance. Basically, it's crow with straight arms. This is way harder. So bend your elbows, just like chaturanga. Bend the elbows, take your squat, lift the hips, wrap the knees and squeeze, lift your head, lift one foot, maybe two, keep the inner thighs engaged, keep the belly engaged, fly in your crow. So if you have any questions or any comments, just leave them below and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. Have fun, guys.